Good time of day, guys. My name is Godzi, and welcome back to another episode of Higurashi When They Cry, Ch.8 Matsuribayashi. Last episode, Takano challenged Hanyu, and then we were thrust into this puzzle thingy with a bunch of fragments that we have to piece together by reading them in the right order. Which is probably gonna take a fucking long time, but oh well, we're 4 in currently. I have my list to help figure out the logic tree. I'm gonna move my headphone holder also, so that I have more space to write. So yeah, we read 4 of them last episode, and I think how I'm going to handle this is basically just go for, from beginning to end of each of these to figure out like once I get here, I obviously can't read either of these right now, but I guess yeah, generally what I'm gonna do is go from page 1 where I wasn't able to read any of these immediately, then go here, I can read that one, and I'm just gonna keep going. I can read this one, I can read that one, and yeah, you get what I mean, I'm assuming. So yeah, I was also told in the comments last episode that in order to unlock the secret scene, what I have to do is, on a save file where I don't have any mistakes on this, so if I make a mistake, I have to, reload, I guess, and then, when I finish the game, I go back here, and it would, have a bonus scene, I guess? I don't know, it still feels unclear, but I don't know. We'll see. I'll just make 0 mistakes, and I should be able to unlock it somehow. So, yeah, also, I pulled my heel walking upstairs, which should be fine, because I am sitting down. But, yeah, if I have to end the video early, it's because, I don't know, maybe I tore my Achilles tendon. I don't fucking know. I doubt it, because it doesn't hurt, right now. It only hurts when I walk on it, but don't know, could be more serious. That's a possible warning in case I get hospitalized. Doubt it, though. So, yeah, I think our next fragment's this one. Satoshi Hojo. Oh my god, my fan is blowing my paper around. When I asked Rika-chan, she said Satoko might have possibly gone up to the mountain behind the shrine. She's fond of going there. That mountain is covered with trees, vines, and fallen logs, and she really likes the area. Any child would dream of having a secret base. And to Satoko, her secret base is the whole mountain. However, the mountains were undeveloped territory, making them a dangerous place that was easy to get lost in. As her brother, okay, we're in your perspective, I figured we were. As her brother, I'm a little concerned that she spends so much time on it. But maybe I should worry more about myself getting lost since I rarely come here. The mountain gets dark quickly when evening falls. If I still can't find her, I should look for her somewhere else. Satoko! Satoko! I'm yelling as loud as I can, but in the woods, my voice doesn't carry that well. According to Rika-chan, she has been making her secret base in this area. She goes up there alone to expand it. What does she mean by expand it? If it's a secret base, she must not want anyone to find it. Does that mean she set up some traps? Considering that, I should have noticed the traps on the mountain before one got me. Ah! Suddenly, my foot sunk into the ground and snagged on something like a jump rope tied beneath dried leaves. I heard some noise from up above, and then a big ball made of branches fell right next to me. It had to be one of the playful traps Satoko loved. If I wasn't so lucky, I'm sure the ball would have hit my head. How'd you make a ball out of branches? Oh my! Look who's here! It's you, Nini! Satoko! No! This kind of horseplay is dangerous! Did you not see the sign put up by the Forestry Service? It clearly states it's dangerous to come into these woods. My wonderful traps will welcome anyone who ignores that warning. Ah ha ha ha! As her brother, I should stop her from doing things like this. But when I see her brilliant smile, I can't say anything else. I haven't seen that smile in some time. By the way, Satoko, weren't you told to come home by evening, since we're going out for dinner tonight? I don't want to go. Why don't our mother and father go by themselves? If you want to, you can go with them, Nini. Are you still angry at Father?
He threw an ashtray at me.
No, that happened with our previous father. Our current one hasn't done that.
He locked me out on the veranda. He didn't feed me lunch. He complained I got him the wrong brand of cigarettes. Then he slapped my face saying I shouldn't be a picky eater. And then...
She isn't talking about our current stepfather. Things about all of our different stepfathers have mixed themselves up in her head. Every time our mother remarried, we had to call a different man our father. How many times has she gotten married? What the fuck? The word father isn't a word that should be taken lightly. If you don't truly acknowledge a man as your father, how can you call him that? That's how much weight it carries. However, just to make things smooth and peaceful, I used the word father even if I didn't want to. But it was too difficult for Satoko, young as she was, to do the same. Ever since Satoko was very little, she's been having troubles with all our stepfathers. She's never opened up to our current one. To Satoko, a father figure is no longer someone she can trust. It's true that our current stepfather doesn't have any experience being a parent, so he sometimes gets rather upset with her. But ever since the incident where Satoko called the child abuse hotline, our stepfather regretted his mistakes and tried his best to communicate with her. Even my mother realized how much Satoko has suffered emotionally when it was pointed out by the social worker. She's doing her part in trying to bring Satoko back into the family. But Satoko completely refuses to even try. It's understandable, though. Her childhood has been filled with misery. Satoko can only open up to me. That's why I have to be the one and only family member she can trust. Otherwise, she'll be all alone in this world. But a brother and a sister alone can't be considered a family. Even if we don't get along now, if we continue to communicate, even in a small way, we may be able to become a real family someday. Satoko, our current stepfather is getting nicer. He says he wants to make up with you.
That's news to me.
That's because every time he tries to say something, you run away. He wants to talk to you. He says he won't make you eat pumpkin anymore.
That's a lie! He said I couldn't leave until I ate my pumpkin and he tied me to the chair!
Again, she isn't talking about our current stepfather. Okay, this obviously isn't just a Japanese thing because this happens in the United States also, but like, who let this whole fucking thing happen where they just let parents do this dumbass shit to their children? Like, who just decided that was okay? Who? I'd like to meet them and beat them the fuck up. I'd like to throw rocks at their head and break their windows and shit. That'd be pretty cool. Tie them to a chair and force them to eat, or force them to drink vinegar. I'm sure that would be lovely. Although there's probably some psychos in this world that like drinking vinegar. And this is coming from a dude who likes salt and vinegar potato chips. So, yeah. Satoko, just come home with me, okay? Mother got a free dinner coupon and we don't want it to go to waste, do we? We already have the reservation, so we have to go today.
Why don't you go, Nini? I prefer staying home alone.
Satoko usually doesn't stay out playing this late. She knows we're going out, and that's why she's out here alone. Although I want to snap at Satoko, I controlled myself. Because she only has me. I can't scare her. Please, let's go home, Satoko. You don't have to decide to go or not right now. You can think about it after we get there. Besides, without your help, I can't find my way down the mountain.
Nini, I've brought you here so many times already, and yet you still haven't learned? What am I going to do with you, Nini?
Satoko holds out her hand. She often says she's embarrassed to hold my hand in front of people, but she's holding out her hand right now. I took that hand. Satoko's fragile hand. I have to protect her, as her big brother. Let's go home, Satoko.
Sure.
That was sweet. Yeah, I genuinely don't really remember all that much about Satoshi. Like, pre-Mayakashi, I didn't really know anything about him. But, yeah, there we go. That's our 5th one done. So, therefore, what would that one have possibly been? No. Definitely not. Nope. Nuh-uh. No, definitely not. No. No. Death of her aunt, no. Help with the Queen Carrier, definitely not. No. No. Satoshi Hojo, no. Satoshi Hojo's sense of responsibility as a big brother. Feel like that's gotta be it, right? Sense of responsibility. Fuck yeah. Unless there's something else. No. Definitely not any of those. Rika and Satoko, Shinto priest. Rock candy. No. Conflict between... We do have the conflict, but we don't have the self-introduction. Neither of those. Awareness of sins and... Rena, so no. 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 Well, yeah, I can do that one. No. Okay, so I think at this point... Yeah, because now it's just asking for fragments. Okay. So yeah, that's definitely Satoshi's sense of responsibility, which only applies to one fragment, so that's epic. Any that I can do in order now. Satoko Hojo. Here we go. 6, Satoko Hojo. Here we go. My name is Satoko Hojo, but Hojo is my current father's family name. I was also Satoko Hatake, Satoko Yoshizawa, and also Satoko Matsura because of my previous fathers. Interesting. I'm still not used to being called Hojo-san. If someone calls me Satoko, then I know that person is talking to me. Because Satoko is the name I've been using since I was born. I don't understand why my mother keeps getting married and divorced. If she's going to get a divorce, why does she get married? If she's married, why does she get a divorce? I've asked her before, but depending on the situation, her answers were different. When I asked her when she was married, she got angry. When I asked her after she got divorced, she cried. I don't understand the meaning of marriage, so I have no interest in drawing pictures of a bride in a wedding dress. I don't think I'll ever get married. I don't want to keep changing my child's last name. My teacher once asked if I liked my mother. I think it was when I was in kindergarten in Okinomiya. That was a very difficult question. Because sometimes I loved her very much, and sometimes I hated her very much. I couldn't decide. When my mother was nice, she smiled all the time. She made us happy. She thanked me for being her daughter. When my mother wasn't nice, she frowned all the time. She treated my brother and me very poorly. She told me I should have never been born. My teacher asked me if I liked my father. That was a very easy question, because I always hated him very much, no matter who he was. The new fathers always treated me nicely at first, as if I was their real daughter. They always told me I could think of them as my real father, but they couldn't be my real father. Besides, I didn't even know my real father's face. How could I call them my father? I couldn't. That was disgusting. Right before divorce, my fathers always became very irritated with me. They treated me like a cockroach. They told me they didn't have money to feed me, they threw things at me, and they locked me out on the veranda. I was told I could forget about them because that was all in the past. I think that was a different teacher from a different school. Maybe that's true. Because ever since Hojo became my father, my mother has been smiling. I haven't seen them get into a fight as I have seen happen just before a divorce. They have little arguments here and there, but those don't lead to a divorce, and they always make up. But I'm sure they'll get a divorce sooner or later. Then it'll be the same old stuff with the family court, divorce settlements, a night flight, and child support. So who knows how long this Hojo will be my father. That's why I don't even feel like calling him that. He also treated me well at first. But when I didn't call him father, even after he asked me repeatedly, he became irritated. They'll get a divorce soon. When my father gets into this mood, a divorce is on the way. After a divorce, it's my mother's turn to be irritated with me. Crack on my back. Then she'll tell me she shouldn't have had me, or she can't be happy because of me. Why is my existence causing problems for my mother? I asked my brother, and he told me, if you have children, it's not easy to find someone to get married with. To my mother, remarriage is a very important job, so I can understand having children around will cause problems. I think I finally understand the reason why I'm a nuisance to her. I asked my brother something else. Why are children hated by new fathers? Well, that's simple. That's because family members all have different roles. A mother's job is to love her children. A father's job is to love the mother. That means I'm a nuisance to both my mother and my father. Oh, whoa. The text color just changed. My brother is more mature than me, so they don't look down on him as a nuisance. But maybe I am. No, I am definitely a nuisance. So now I know. Both my mother and father want me dead. But if they kill me, they'll be caught. But that doesn't mean they won't kill me. Okay. I understand the context, but... it's surprising, that's for sure. If I were to look down the cliff, and if no one was around, my mother and father would push me off for sure. My father has become abnormally nice to me recently. He started to act that way ever since I made the fake call. I know for sure that it's just part of a plot to kill me, so I won't let them trick me. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Lately, when I listen very carefully, I can hear a voice apologizing. The voice sounds similar to mine. Her mother must be telling her that she shouldn't have been born. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. But I won't apologize like that. I'll live. I am going to strike back. I'll kill before I get killed. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, the context of that is certainly very, interesting. Yeah. They actually haven't said exactly why. Like, they haven't said something yet. They probably will, but there's one thing in particular that they just, you know, haven't said. So I'm assuming, that was... I've seen it before. Where the fuck is it? What? Have I not... Did I imagine it? What the... What the... What? Right? Where is it? I swear to God, I've seen this. Where the fuck is it? There it is. Okay, yeah. Self-introduction of Satoko Hojo. Okay. So that means I would be able to do this one, right? I don't know what the fuck else that one would be anyways. I mean, I guess you could... If there was one that was like the onset of Satoko's, problems is required, then that would probably be more likely, but... Yeah, are there any other ones that I can just do? No, there aren't, so we have to go back to the beginning, okay? So, I definitely can't do this one. Definitely can't do that one, can't do that one, can't do that one, Can't do that one. Can't do that one. Can't do that one. Can't do that one. So nothing on page 1 still. Help from the Queen Carrier? No. Shirakawa? No. No. I don't think so. So this one we're like halfway there. Execution order? No. Bat to beat her to death. So I should be able to do this one. So page 3, number 1, just in case we're going to save. We have yet to make any mistakes on this save so far, so yeah. So I should be able to do this one. Fuck yeah. 7, it was Irie's background, right? Irie's background. So yeah, that definitely means Kyosuke Irie was his reminiscence. I've wanted to become a doctor ever since I was little. Doctors make a lot of money. People look up to doctors. I think those are the kind of reasons I had. So when I played with my friends, I always acted like a doctor. I cleaned their wounds and applied ice packs when my friends sprained their ankles, using what I learned from household medical books. Everyone, including me, believed that I'd be a doctor one day. My family was poor, so they praised me for that goal. They told me that I needed to study a lot to become a doctor, so they borrowed some pseudo-medical books from the local library for me. The rental fees weren't cheap, so I would speed read one book in a day, and the next day, my parents would go back to the store to exchange it for a different book, saying they accidentally borrowed a book they already borrowed before. By doing so, my parents borrowed 2 books for the price of 1. Of course, now I know those books were rather useless, but they were highly motivational just the same. My neighbors called me Dr. Kyosuke-kun, and I was always picked for class health officer at school. Even my teachers helped me with the classes I needed to take to become a doctor. Of course, in reality, becoming a doctor isn't as easy as it might seem. I had to study diligently, and the path was most definitely rough. To become a doctor, one must attend college. Since my family was poor, I was told that I wasn't allowed to go to an expensive private school, so I had to be admitted to a national public university. My grades weren't bad, but the admission rate to national public universities is very marginal. Especially since I wanted to go to a medical school, my chances were even smaller. I studied like crazy. My only driving force was my childhood dream of becoming a doctor. The dream of becoming a doctor and to be looked up to by everyone kept me going. And I was admitted. I wasn't at the top of the list, but I made it in. I was finally at the starting point of making my childhood dream come true. My parents were thrilled. Neither my father nor mother went to college, so they were proud of their son getting into a public medical school. They invited our relatives over to celebrate. Although it was a public university, tuition wasn't cheap, but they still had an extravagant celebration anyway. My father didn't express his emotions much. He always kept a straight face. He rarely voiced his opinion or took initiative on anything. My mother took care of everything, and he showed up last and left without saying a word. He was the typical stern and silent Japanese father of the time. That's why I was surprised to see him shedding tears of joy, and I cried along with him. He went around to all my relatives while repeatedly slapping my back, saying how proud and lucky he was to have a son like me. He bragged about my achievements to all who would hear them. The celebration became my farewell party as I was about to leave for Tokyo. My father yelled "Bonsai" repeatedly at the station as the train pulled away. I was a little embarrassed, but when I could no longer see my father, I could clearly recall the tears pouring down. The days of hellish studying and exams began after that. Some days I was tempted to just give up and submit myself to the lavish lifestyle of the city. But the letters from my family always encouraged me and gave me the strength to go on. My dream then was to open up my own clinic in my hometown so I could contribute to the region. I never even dreamed of getting involved with brains. One day I noticed a difference in a letter from my family. The letter said the usual things about how it was at home and asked how I was doing. But the postscript was what caught my attention. Your father has become really violent lately. Sometimes he turns the house upside down and I don't know what to do. I just couldn't picture him acting viciously. I was extremely surprised. Did something happen? But in the postscript, my mother said that there was nothing she could think of. My mother and father had been together for a long time. They'd been together since well before I was born. So she noticed things that I couldn't. She couldn't even think of a reason why my father had become so violent. What happened? They got along so well. They were such a lovely couple. When I caused the problem for my mother when I was little, my father only bonked my head with his knuckle. Why was he acting this way towards my mother? Maybe there was some kind of misunderstanding between them. I was going home for the new year. Maybe I could have a good talk with him then. But the situation was a lot more serious than I thought. On one cold winter day, I found my apartment door unlocked. I thought someone had broke in, but I found my mother in my apartment with her luggage. That's right. My mother could no longer take my father's fury and came to stay with me. This was back when people still believed in the proverb, a woman has no place to settle down all her life. She couldn't go back to her own family, because they lived in the same region as my father, so she came all the way to Tokyo. I heard about my father's violence from my mother's own lips. She cried, saying she had no idea why such a quiet man changed like that. She said she wasn't ever going back to him. I didn't know what to do. I asked her if she could talk to him one more time, but the bruises on her body told me it was no use. To remember what happened afterwards is too much, so I'll be brief. After my mother left, my father thought she was having an affair and went over to the neighbor's house with a wooden sword. He was arrested. He was released immediately, but he assumed someone in the neighborhood was hiding her, so he did the same thing repeatedly. He eventually reached the point of getting into fights with anyone he saw. In the end, he picked a fight with some young punks and ended up being beaten to death. My relatives gave my father a decent funeral, but my mother didn't attend. It's no use beating a dead horse. So nobody said anything negative about my father, but everyone was simply puzzled as to why he changed so much. What I heard from my relatives about my father's final days was a lot stranger than what I heard from my mother. My mother only told me about his sudden rage and violence, but my relatives told me he also laughed and grew sad. Apparently, he displayed several sudden fluctuations of emotion, especially so in his last years. They also told me that he started to complain about headaches after an accident that he had. My father was a construction worker. He had hit his head hard. Is that 6 words in a row that start with H? Yo! He had hit his head hard on a construction board during an accident at work. He regained his consciousness quickly and seemed fine, but since the accident, he started to have headaches and behave abnormally. I sensed a connection between the accident and my father's changes, so I talked to my professor after I went back to Tokyo. I can't say for certain, but it sounds like it's possible your father suffered some kind of brain damage. There's a chance that blow to his head caused an organic mental disorder. The symptoms your father showed in his final years are similar to the delirium and mental fluctuations we've often seen in similar patients. Human behavior is created by the brain. Is it thundering? No, I thought it was thundering for a second. And if the brain is damaged, it can cause erratic behavior. In other words, my father wasn't crazy. He was suffering from a disorder. If you can perform an autopsy on him, you should check his brain carefully. Maybe you'll find something like a tumor there. My father had already been cremated, so there was no way of knowing. But hearing about his behavior, I knew for sure. That was the only way to explain why such a quiet and gentle man would change. I tried to explain all this to my relatives to regain my father's honor, but hardly anyone understood. If his brain was damaged, he would have been dead. Oh my god, is your family that stupid? But he was alive and well, so the accident didn't damage his brain. It wasn't his brain that caused him to change, it was his mind. They simply brushed it off like that. This is the perception most people have about the brain. They don't realize the mind and the brain are connected. Most of the relatives didn't believe me, but there was one person who I really wanted to anyway. That was my mother. As she got older, she grew senile and she exaggerated the abuse she had to endure. All she did was criticize my father. And every time, she ended up crying, lamenting that she married him. They were a lovely couple. We were a great family. That's why I wanted to convey to her that she was misunderstanding the situation with my father. My father's behavior was caused by his brain damage. What he did to her was very sad, but he didn't want to be that way. I told her that he wasn't at fault. But my mother didn't understand. Before she took her last breaths, I begged her to forgive my father. But her final words were, "Please don't bury me next to that man." He wasn't buried anyway. She really is exaggerating a lot. My father wasn't at fault. He was simply the victim of a brain disorder. You don't complain to a person who's coughing because he has a cold. Oh yeah, people do. Are you kidding me? Because coughing is just a symptom, and he should be sympathized with. Dude, I have never heard anyone sympathize over coughs, especially recently because COVID, but like even before that, like, oh my god, and I do it too. Like, I used to help at the fucking elementary school during winter for random fucking bullshit, which I didn't like doing, by the way, but whatever, my mom was involved, so she wanted me to be too, so I did it anyways. And pre-K students just cough like, they don't cover their mouth, and they go fucking apeshit. They're like, and oh my god, I think that's why I hate kids. It might just be literally that one day, whole ass pre-K class coughing. Like, that's why kids get sick so fucking easily. They're told to cover their mouth, but they don't. You gotta enforce them with a fucking yardstick. You gotta fucking beat them whenever they don't cover their mouth. I'm kidding. I'll stop venting about children now, but yeah, kids, it might just be around here. I don't know how kids are in cities and shit. Like, they might be more good about not, coughing within the vicinity of other people. So, yeah. I live in a rural area, so, yeah. In my father's case, the symptoms weren't as obvious as a cough. They took the form of changes in personality, which are much harder to recognize. If I had studied the brain more, I could have explained it better to my mother so that she could have understood him. Then they could have been a nice couple again in heaven. When I realized that, I cried. And I also realized that there are plenty of people like my father in this world who are suffering from a disorder, yet they are misunderstood and despised for it. And then I found out. I found out about a miraculous cure for such disorders called a lobotomy. Ever since that day, I spent my days learning about the brain, so I could help people who are suffering from mental illnesses. My father is gone, but if he was still alive, I could cure him myself. So he and my mother could reconcile. That's the main reason why I am here. Okay. So I'm assuming this one was, that was a very good one, by the way. I forgot a lot about Irie's backstory, so that was actually interesting. So there was one that was like, Irie's dream to be a doctor is required, or something like that. Kyosuke Irie's motive to become a doctor. Okay. So I'll just write, motive to become a doctor. There we go. So we're 7 in. If I'm able to do math, that means we have 35 left, right? I'm kidding. It's 43. I'm not that good at math. Okay, so we were able to do that one. We might have Tomatake's Slight Fever. I still don't know which one. So I'm probably gonna avoid those ones, because we also have Promise, which is odd. We should be able to do this one, the Hojo siblings, so let's save to make sure. Because if it doesn't fucking work, I'm loading, obviously. Boop. Come on. Yeah! Alright. The Hojo siblings. There. The Hojo family is well known for going against the whole village during the dam conflict. Both the husband and the wife were rather aggressive, and they fought a fierce battle, especially against the Sonozaki family. Although the whole village treated them coldly, the husband and wife didn't really care and kept on fighting. In a way, they were extremely strong-willed people. I'm sure their children had to go through a lot because of them, though. Satoko-chan and Satoshi-kun were treated coldly by the villagers as well. In addition to that, Satoko-chan and her stepfather didn't get along, so their stress levels must have reached their limit. Because I'm the director— oh, okay, we're in Irie's perspective. Because I'm the director of the local clinic, a rather respected member of society, people usually tell me a lot of things. So I was aware of the treatment they were receiving even before I met them. I met Satoshi-kun first. Satoshi-kun came to the clinic because he felt too ill from too much stress. He must have thought he had a cold. When I examined him, he even told me that. But hearing his repeated sighs and seeing the exhausted look in his eyes, I knew right away that it wasn't just a simple cold. Medication would heal his symptoms, but that would only be a temporary measure. The only way to truly cure him would be to change his living environment. But that was easier said than done. He was surrounded by tangled and complicated relationships with the village and his family, so just resting for a few days and taking some medication wouldn't do. Time was the only thing that could ease off the cold treatment from the villagers, but we were talking a very, very long time. That's why I felt I had to be their first ally in this village, so I could rescue them. I couldn't do anything about his stressful environment, but I could try to diminish the anxiety. So I thought the best way was to teach him how to vent his stress. And playing sports is the best way to do that. So I asked him to join the junior baseball team that I coach. As a researcher, I devote most of my time to Hinamizawa syndrome, but I too need to do something else to relax. I used to play baseball, so I decided to coach the local kids' team. After a while, the children of Hinamizawa started their own baseball team, and somehow I became their coach. Doctors can't provide health just by giving medication. You need a sound mind and a sound body. I believe health can be maintained through sports as well. But our team needed more people, so I thought of asking Satoshi-kun to join. Being a bookworm, Satoshi-kun wasn't interested in playing sports. He wasn't sure how joining the baseball team would help his situation. I didn't need to go on and on about athletic medicine to explain why sports help people become healthy. I just wanted him to experience it himself, to realize how great it feels to play sports. I think he realized it gradually. He was reluctant until the very end, but he attended all of the team activities and games. As I saw Satoshi-kun slowly regain his liveliness, I realized my plan worked. However, if Satoshi-kun was under that much stress, then Satoko-chan, who lived in the same family climate, must have felt the same way. Unfortunately, I didn't think of her back then. So when Satoko-chan was carried into my clinic as a patient, I regretted doing nothing about her even while knowing the situation. As Satoshi-kun recovered under my guidance, Satoko-chan was left alone in her stressful environment. Also around that time, there was an incident bad enough to make Satoko-chan collapse. That was, of course, her parents' deaths. The day of the Watanagashi festival was a very uncomfortable time for the Hojo family, because although it was a village festival, it was also a day to celebrate victory over the dam construction project. It's understandable that they would plan a family trip around that time so they could leave the village. Satoko-chan's parents fell off the cliff at the park they were visiting. It happened on such an unlucky day. Because it happened on the day of Watanagashi, people said it was the curse of Oyashiro-sama. And people labeled the Hojo family as one that was cursed by Oyashiro-sama. The parents were given the cold shoulder by everyone in the village. So with their parents gone, Satoshi and Satoko should have been freed from that, but unfortunately, the accident happened on the day of Watanagashi. That's why the members of the Hojo family continue to be shunned. Satoko-chan was the only one who was at the site of the accident. Satoshi-kun didn't go on the trip because he had an event with the baseball team. Therefore, the police mainly interrogated her. The detective, Oishi, suspected an act of organized crime by the village, so with Satoko-chan as the only witness on site, he drilled her with questions. She was as stressed as Satoshi-kun, perhaps even more, so of course she couldn't take it. During the interrogation, she began to wheeze and gasp for air. The anguished look I saw in Satoko-chan's face when she was carried into the clinic was very, very tragic. It broke my heart just to imagine what she had to go through. Coach, is Satoko okay? Yes, don't worry. She's a bit confused, but only temporarily. That's all. May I see her? She finally fell asleep, so I'd rather not wake her up just yet. Let's just let her rest for a while. Maybe it's a good idea to have her stay here for a few days, too. Don't worry, I'll take good care of her. Thank you. I know Satoshi-kun is a great big brother who truly cares about his sister. He empathizes deeply with her. In other words, Satoshi-kun's worries and stress were reflecting Satoko-chan herself. Maybe I shouldn't say this, but while Satoshi-kun was, of course, sad about his parents' deaths, he may at the same time have been a little relieved that they were gone. His sister wouldn't have to be driven into a corner anymore. Unlike Satoshi-kun, Satoko-chan didn't have the social skills to get along with her stepfather. So putting her mother aside, I was certain that losing her father, the greatest cause of stress in her life, would bring great change to her home environment. But I couldn't believe what happened next. The two were sent to live in an even worse environment with their aunt and uncle. Although at that time, I was rather optimistic, thinking this new environment would be better for the siblings. Okay, there's like potentially 3 things this one could be. So that's fun. The most obvious one I feel is Satoshi not being allowed to visit Satoko at the clinic. Let's go back here though. There was no detailed test result. There was nothing about a dissection plan. Nothing about the... Well, there was also stuff about the curse. Hold up. Live specimen for research. Hospitalization of Satoko is possible, but unlikely. We have his sense of responsibility as a big brother. But yeah, Satoshi... Okay, we'll write Satoshi not allowed to visit. I'll just write not allowed to visit. I will know what that means. But then I'll also... Oh wait, I should also check off a local explanatory meeting because that was definitely a conflict between Hojo and Sonozaki. And self-introduction for Satoko was also... I should probably check them in a place where it's easier to see. So like, I'm right. These notes are correct, you know? But then there was also Satoko's hospitalization. I'll just write Satoko Hospital. But then there was another potential one. I believe. There was no detailed test result. There was neither of those. Not that either. No. Awareness of sins, no. Red capsule, strawberry milk candy. That one I can do. So I think we'll do Rika's next. No. Definitely not. No. Okay, from here it's obviously not. Okay, so that's either Satoshi not being allowed to visit Satoko or Satoko going to the hospital. So now I know I can do that one, but I want to make sure. Can't do that one, can't do that one. Can't do that one, or 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 that one. So yeah, Rika Furude, number 9. I ran into Satoko on my way to the grocery store for my mother. Satoko said she was going there too. Okay, this is their shopping trip then, let's go. So we decided to go together. After exchanging our shopping lists, it became easy to guess what the other family would be having for dinner. Satoko's family is having grilled fish and cooked vegetables. We're having Salisbury steak.
My, that sounds so very good. I don't mind the grilled fish, but it's the vegetables I'm less fond of. I'm certain there's still plenty of pumpkin left from the other day. And I bet you'll be getting a lot tonight. Poor Satoko. I don't appreciate knowing that pumpkin is going to show up on the dinner table. Meep. You don't like pumpkin, no matter how it shows up.
You don't like pumpkin pie? Satoko, you dumbass! I don't know if Japanese people often even eat pumpkin pie or how they'd prepare it, but whatever.
Rika, you have some food you're not fond of, don't you? That's right, you don't like daifuku, cream puffs, or anything sweet, don't you? It's not that I don't like those things. I just choose not to eat them. If I wanted to, I could eat sweets forever. I could even eat pumpkin pie, too. Nipai,
Let's go. Rika's got good taste.
No, it's not fair that you aren't a picky eater.
Conversations like this are how I have fun. Satoko is my best friend. I hate the phrase picky eater, too. Like, no one ever says it to me anymore because I'm 20. But when I was a kid, like, oh, you don't like... What was something I didn't like as a kid? I don't fucking know. Potato salad. I didn't like potato salad. It's fine now. I don't mind potato salad, but I don't prefer it. But when I was a kid, I didn't like potato salad, so I'd get called a picky eater. I didn't like spicy food, so I'd get called a picky eater. Oh, I didn't like pork. And it's not even that I didn't like pork, it's just bland, you know? Pork, it's fine. Pork's just one of those absorbent meats. You gotta have something on it. If you just cook it straight up, it's bland. It's dry as fuck. But yeah, I didn't like pork. I didn't really like chicken either, because that's another absorbent one, so I was called a picky eater. But nowadays, if I say, like, yeah, I don't like sour cream, people are like, okay. I just don't like sour cream. That's all. I don't like mayonnaise. Mayonnaise is shit. But yeah, like I go to Taco Bell and ask for a fucking, what are they called? Chalupa without sour cream or tomatoes. And I get a chalupa without sour cream or tomatoes. I don't get called a picky eater and forced to eat it anyways. I don't know. It's just stupid. Like, yeah, children are children, but we don't need to infantilize children because they don't like potatoes, you know? I don't mind potatoes. It's another one of those dry foods. Whatever. Let's read. I'm talking a lot about dumb shit this episode. Satoko is my best friend. I usually don't like grocery shopping, but if I'm with Satoko, I can make it into an enjoyable evening stroll. Near the supermarket, there's a grocer's, good job, and other shops. Oh, no, wait. No, that's just how some people refer to grocery stores. There's a grocer. Well, no, then it'd just be a grocer, right? Whatever. And other shops, forming a little shopping district. The grocery store is busy this time of day. All the housewives in Hinamizawa gather here to shop. Except for, apparently, Rika's mom and Satoko's mom. Since Satoko and I have different things to buy, we decide to do our shopping separately. Welcome, welcome! Oh, Rika-chama! Are you shopping for your mother? What a good girl.
Nipa, I'm a good girl who can go shopping by herself.
Wow, you really are a good girl. Here, I'll give you this. There were several candies for the owner's occasional asthma attack inside a sieve? I don't know how to pronounce that word. Full of change hanging in the front. He picked out a sweet from there and gave it to me. It was my favorite flavor, strawberry milk! Strawberry milk treat. So we should be able to do meals. So wait, can some of these be both? There's no fucking way they're saying strawberry milk again, are they? I put it in my pocket so I can brag about it to Satoko later. I get a lot of fun out of teasing Satoko and making her jealous. She always overreacts, so I never get bored when I'm with her. What are you having for dinner tonight, Rika-chama? Ground pork. You better be putting shit on it.
We're making Salisbury steak. We're going to put flower-shaped fried eggs on top and draw pictures on them with ketchup.
I mean, okay, sure. Oh, that sounds like fun. I enjoyed that conversation while filling my shopping basket. But then I overheard some women whispering. They're talking about something that's a little harsh. They're talking about Satoko. How long do those village traders plan to stay here? They should just leave. They don't even have the guts to go shopping themselves and make their daughter do it instead. The women went on and on. Ever since the Hojo family and the Sonozaki family got into a huge fight at the explanatory meeting for the dam project, the Hojo family has been ostracized within the village. At first, there were a significant number of families in favor of leaving like the Hojos, but the main branch of the Sonozakis led a push to completely solidify the village's opinion, and as that tone of unified resistance grew stronger, the pro-evacuation families steadily grew quiet. The public harassment led by the Sonozakis and the Kimiyoshis, two of the three families with powerful influence on the village, also played an effect too. The Sonozaki family made the Hojo family into an example, to ensure there would be no more pro-evacuation supporters. The ancestors of the villagers have lived here for generations, and the villagers also know that they themselves will be buried in this village, so this harassment put a lot of pressure on them. Who was it that agreed to make the Hojo family the leader of the pro-evacuation group at the explanatory meeting? Those same people no longer said anything, and they even joined in on harassing the Hojo family. The harassment they faced then became pressure from the entire village. The Hojo family is hardly wealthy. They haven't paid the town council fees in a long time. When things were peaceful, nobody said anything about it. But now that the wind was blowing a different way, the Hojo family was asked to pay off all of their late council fees immediately. It wasn't an amount they couldn't afford, but the Hojos recognized a fight was being picked with them, and they responded to it. And so the Hojo family quit the town council. But that only played right into the village's evil plan. Making an enemy of the town council meant facing vicious harassment. For example, the place the Hojos dumped their trash was a provisional dumping site established by the town council and the waste management department. Under the council agreement, only council members could use it. Ever since the day the Hojo family quit the village council, their trash bags were returned to their front door. Furthermore, all the bags were torn. On top of that, a sign went up on the hedgerow near the Hojo family. It said, "Private road, no trespassing. Only council members permitted." A stubborn old man stood and guarded the road, saying that he would not let any of the Hojo family members pass through. A private road is private property opened up to the public, so it looks just like a normal road. However, as private property, the owner can forbid anyone else to pass through whenever they like. More and more, the village piled on vicious harassment. The fear of antagonism spread through the entire village, and people became afraid that if they supported the Hojo family, they'd go through the same thing. This has made the Hojo family even more isolated. The grown-ups haven't told their kids about what's going on, so Satoko isn't harassed in any way at school. But it wasn't hard to imagine she probably spent her days feeling so anxious she could hardly breathe. Even the women whispering in here aren't saying anything directly to Satoko. But it's not like she doesn't notice their muttering and the cold stares. When did this village become so cold towards her? As her best friend, it's very sad for me. Satoko's shopping experience is nothing like mine. When I say hello or buy things, I usually get treats or a discount, but that doesn't happen to Satoko. On the contrary, she's served last on purpose, and sometimes shop owners even pretend they don't hear her. Obviously, people don't want to have anything to do with her. Satoko had been weaving through the housewives crowding the shop, telling the fishmonger what she wanted, but she kept getting ignored. She's decided to keep her smile and pretend she doesn't mind, but I know. It was far too painful for her to endure. At that point, Satoko dropped her coins on the ground. Maybe her finger got stuck on something when she was trying to put the change back into her wallet. I ran through the crowd to help her pick them up. But as I did, I noticed something. Satoko dropped a lot of coins and is struggling to pick all of them up, but nobody is helping her. It's not just that. It's almost like they're acting like they don't even see her there. Satoko wasn't expecting anyone to help her since she's the one who dropped them. But, There's so many people around, and not even one is trying to aid her.
Satoko, I'll help you. I'm okay, Rika.
That reaction is all I need to tell how hurt she is. Furthermore, when I started to help Satoko, other housewives started to pick up the coins too. As if it's the natural thing to do. So they can only help if a shrine maiden of the Furude family does. If I didn't help, they would have disregarded her completely. And the fact that other people helped only because I did hurts Satoko even more. I grabbed the coins from the housewives without thanking them. I'd rather spit at them than do that.
Thank you very much, Rika. Everyone.
If she didn't thank them, people would talk about that too. Satoko forced out her words of gratitude. The housewives looked down at her with blank expressions. I can't stand this. I can't stand what Satoko is going through right now.
If we're done,
I did not right-click, what?
If we're done, let's go, Satoko. Sure.
I grabbed Satoko's arm and pulled her away. I was frustrated, sad, and bitter. What has Satoko done? Reality is just too cruel. Everyone loves me, but can I share that love with Satoko? Satoko must be wondering why people treat me so differently. I shouldn't come shopping with her. Or rather, I should have done her shopping instead.
Satoko? What is it, Rika? I feel bad that you dropped your coins. So here's something that'll make you happy.
I wanted to at least ease her pain a little bit, so I pulled out the strawberry milk candy I just received. But Satoko refused to take it.
That candy was given to you.
My hand froze. She saw me getting this candy.
That person wanted you to eat it. So if I did, it'd be rude.
Satoko turned her back on me and kept walking. Without even saying goodbye, she continued on to her house with the shopping bags in her hands. I only wanted to ease her pain, but I ended up rubbing salt in her wound. How can I call myself her best friend? If I could, I would have crushed the candy right there. Yeah, it feels like some of these fragments are a little longer than others, because that one felt considerably longer than the last 4 I did this episode. Yeah, 4. Okay, so that one... Strawberry milk candy. It has to be. Right? There's no fucking way it's not. But then at the same time, there was one about their shopping trip. So I guess some have to be able to fulfill multiple, right? Right! Let's go back to the beginning to make sure. So, Death of the Ant. Okay. Help from the Queen Carrier, Chirikawa, research. Oh, wait. Oh, no. No. Bottle of wine for a toast. Get a feeling I kinda know what that one will be. Something with Rika. I already checked this page. Maybe there wasn't one for their shopping trip, and I'm stupid. I swear there fucking was. Let's just pay attention again. Make absolute sure. There it is. Yep. Rika and Satoko shopping. Okay. So it either just truly is that some fragments can fulfill 2 criteria at once, while others only fulfill 1, because like this one, for example, very clearly is supposed to be Satoshi's sense of responsibility as a brother. But then the Hojo siblings could either be Satoshi not allowed to visit Satoko at the clinic, and Satoko being hospitalized. But yeah, I think I'm gonna end the episode here. We're only 9 in, which is a bit of a shame. But I think if I can just complete as many as I can per episode, then that'd be great. Because we're making progress. We're almost like 20% there if you think about it that way. But yeah, regardless, I suppose then, if I could be told in the comments also whether or not something can be, multiple, like, if I'm right in thinking that one fragment can fulfill 2 criteria, so like, the one I just did could be both strawberry milk candy and a Rika and Satoko shopping trip, that'd be great, because otherwise I'd only be able to find it out through trial and error, which, I don't know, maybe that'd be fun. Whatever, yeah. Either way, that's gonna be it for this episode, guys. If you liked it, then be sure to press the like button, and if you didn't like it, then fuck you too. Remember to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all my videos and stuff. And as always, my name is Godzi, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye. Yeah.